Welcome to the Team Superdad podcast, making quality time for yourself. It's the final part of the power code. Let's roll.
Welcome to Team Superdad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.
Hey, Johnny here. Welcome to the Team Superdad podcast. Great to have you here. As always, if you're on the live, then you can comment and tune in and join us. And if you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And of course, to the podcast listeners, wherever you are, enjoy the next 20 to 25 minutes together. Please share this around, whether you're listening or watching. Share this with other dads you know. Team Superdad is my community of modern men. I'm a dad coach, a performance coach, and we're here creating the life we desire and leaving behind that life we feel stuck in, living with power, being the man that we want to be. So if you're, where are you in the world? Let me know that, what you're up to. It is first thing here, as always, kicking off the weekend, recording this as I do. Today is my dad's 80th birthday, which is going to be pretty cool. The whole family are coming together down in near Brighton, going for a pretty cool meal. We're going to be doing, Dad likes his poems, right? So my guys, Team Jensen, we're going to be doing, I didn't realize that Philip Larkin's poem, the one, they fuck you up, your mum and dad, it's called This Is the Verse. So we're going to be doing that. Read out, second to last episode of Ted Lasso. They dropped that one in there. It was the woman who runs the bar. What's she called? Peggy, yeah. Peggy, the woman who runs the pub at in Ted Lasso. She dropped in Philip Larkin's famous poem. Absolute cracker. If you don't know that one, go and remind yourself, familiarize yourself with This Is the Verse. We are here in the risk of time stamping this. It's actually June, and we've been going through from the beginning of this year. Actually missed a couple of weeks, which was not the plan. That was like my challenge I set for myself. But like all challenges, it's about getting back up and finishing the job. So we've gone all the way through the Power Code method, my program, my method for modern living for men in the world today, us family guys. We're hitting our 40s, midlife. What is it all about? Like, where do we find our joy? Where do we find our motivation and drive to stay connected to the people we love most, to stay on mission, and to not just feel great, but actually operate from greatness? This final part, this is the third part of reward, which is the top of the pyramid. Okay, after purpose and ownership, do the work, engage, and reward. We've spoken about the importance of adventure and getting out of your comfort zone, creating a bucket list, taking time to celebrate the end of each day, the end of each week, the month, like literally what have we achieved, and noticing that, because the habit can so often be, what haven't I done? What comes next? What have we got to do? It's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If you're not having enough fun, then what is the whole point? Referencing my dad today, through the good times and the bad, through mansions and derelict pubs, and everything else in between, there was always, and has always been, today will be no exception, fun and friends and experiences, and literally making the most of every situation. So and if you're interested in taking part of the Power Code, we are running the next intake in July. So get yourself over to teamsuperdad.com/power and pre-register yourself onto the Power Code program. We'll chat. You tell me about what you're trying to create, what the challenges are. We'll let you know a little bit about how some of the Power Code principles can help you in that. So even if you don't join, it will become a valuable call for you to take away and implement some of the suggested actions into your life, and hopefully as well get you signed up. So Making quality time for yourself. I did a little YouTube search just in case people weren't sure if this was a popular topic or not. Okay. Jay Shetty's 299,000. A TED Talk by Jen Oliver, How to Love Yourself to the Core, 2.4 million views. There's a lot. Tom Bellew, 7,000 views. Who's that neuroscience guy? It's not, someone's remixed his video, but anyway, the big dude who does the 3-hour long podcast. 5.3 million views. Neuroscience, Making Your Life Exciting Again, 912,000 views. Like, the importance of taking time for yourself, 76,000 views. This is a topic. This is a topic that people search about. So, but it's like we're here, we're dads, right? We're talking about this in a very practical and manly way. Making time for yourself is as simple as noticing where you're at and what you're doing. There's an expression I love: wherever I go, there I am. It's a level of self-awareness that most of us don't have. We're just rushing around busy. We're busy doing, we're busy succeeding, we're making deals, we're sorting out problems, we're picking up the kids, we're running on to the next thing. But there is always a moment where you can notice yourself being you, being the person in the car driving along, what you're thinking, how much you're concentrating, what you're listening to. It's almost like a matrix moment, like where you step back and look down upon yourself. But as you do that, you become so much more aware of all parts of where you're at and what you're doing. Like I said, how you're feeling, where you're going, what you're listening to, what you're thinking. And that's where you start to have a greater sense of purpose and control over everything. And in this part of reward, that making time for yourself is, it can be a practice as simple as driving along. But what I'm talking about is actually setting time aside. I can't get my phone, it's upstairs. I'll share a book. What's it called? It's like called Success Principles or something. But the two authors went and interviewed lots of CEOs, actors, successful sports stars and coaches to create an outline of what the common strategies for success and high performance are. And this making time for yourself piece was core to that, because it's like a computer cleaning. So have you ever do a defrag on your computer? It's literally like that. You're defragging yourself. So when and I watched an interesting video the other week of Mel Robbins. I read her book, The 5-Second Rule, years ago, and she's just gone on to be flipping. She's wildly successful now, talking really much the same, all about habits and success principles. But high-fiving yourself, literally, she talks about it as the practice of high-fiving the mirror, which okay, you can take a version of that or you can literally do it. But it was born out of a science where they ran a process with children, and they gave one set acknowledgements, like words of affirmation for completing a task. They gave another set almost no acknowledgement for completing the task, and they gave the third set just a straight up good old fashioned high five. And the positive response, the results from the test were that the children that got the high five reacted both externally and internally far more favorably to the high five than they did any of the words or lack of words. So in calling this section high-fiving yourself, that's literally what we're doing. Okay. So making time for yourself, first of all, scheduling it so it becomes part of a habit. You know, Tony Robbins talks about the hour of power and how you run your morning rituals. We talked all about morning routines inside of Do the Work, the W in the power code. But making time for yourself as you do this looking at your morning routine. What's your breakfast like? What's your coffee like? What's the time you sit down and do some journaling like? If it's rush, then the task you're doing is rushing. There isn't really a process of mindfulness, of making a moment for yourself. Sit down and actually enjoy that coffee, or better still, do it somewhere outside. People that have dogs are naturally out walking the dog. But still, there's a difference between people who are walking the dog, looking at their phone and being super busy, and people who are walking the dog and taking in all that is around them. The sounds, the smells, the time of the year, the temperature, the sun coming up, or the mystery of the darkness in the winter. This is all taking that moment for yourself, rather than engaging in phone and email and things that you should be doing that day. Many of the other elements of making time for yourself are scattered throughout the power code. So adventure and novelty, getting outside of your comfort zone, we just talked about it. Gratitude goes back to purpose at the top, and being conscious of all that you've achieved and what you've created. Self-appreciation rituals, they're also part of do the work. But as you sit, as you find this time for yourself, it being the top of the triangle of reward, you're really reflecting on all that you've created. If it's a project, who was involved? What were the lessons learned? What were the moments of triumph? What were the challenges? As these are headers actually I've got in an exercise that form part of this. If you comment journal in anything that you're watching, or send me a DM, I'll send you this high five yourself, this make time for yourself journaling template. I'll send it over to you. But it's whether you're writing it down or whether you're consciously going through this process, it is the essential peak of the power code of your day. It will give you a chance to reset and move back to the start of the process, looking at what comes next, looking at where you need to move towards and what you need to do to achieve that. It is the essence of fulfillment, which, if you've been tuned in for all of these episodes, you'll know fulfillment is having a clear intention, like a clear vision of where you're headed, and carrying out tasks to actively pursue that. That is where you find joy and fulfillment in all that you do. And it's also why so many of us feel lost, because we're either not clear about where we're headed, so every task is flipping pointless, or it seems pointless, or we're clear about where we wanted to end up, but we know we're not working towards getting there. That is why so many men feel lost in the world today. So a slightly more advanced, let's call it a step up from that, and I would encourage you to do this on a semi-regular basis. So you're going to do the practical high five yourself on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, but I also want to encourage you to make time in your schedule to take yourself away for either a day or for a weekend, to really separate yourself from the noise and the routine of the family and of your work, and put yourself in an environment where you can do this consciously over an extended period of time. It will naturally lead into a planning session, which, like I said, going back to the top of the power code, your purpose and vision, where you're headed. But it's like a segue, a bridge. So when you've done this kind of grounding exercise to tune in to who you are and what you've done and who's involved, what you learned from it, what were the challenges, what comes next, that is an exploration, and taking yourself to somewhere new is the most powerful way to open your mind and tap into that. And don't do it necessarily as this practice. Don't keep it all to yourself. The value of sharing this with other people who are on the same mission, or other like-minded men, like the men inside of Team Super Dad and the Power Code, with your mentors and with your loved ones, giving them the opportunity to connect with you around this not only reinforces what you're up to, but it will strengthen your bond with those people. And there'll be dads listening to this, I dare say, who, well, if you've listened to this many of the Team Super Dad episodes, then I'm already pretty confident that you're tuned into exactly what we're talking about, what we're up to. But if you're still doubtful that this is a bit like, well, I'm really going to sit and talk to myself, am I really going to work? Well, what's the point of that? It's a springboard for you. It's not about it being weird or being any less manly. It's about connecting with yourself and about showing up through the tough times and through the good times as the person who you know yourself to be, not some version you're always looking for or questioning. It's a grounding exercise, grounding in a way that will take you forward onto the next chapter. Because ultimately, that's what everything's about. It is about that next chapter. So today, as my dad enters his 80th year, we're into a new chapter. I remember his 40th birthday. So when things like that come up, you're like, oh my gosh, 40 years have passed. But what am I now? 49? So I was 9 years old at my dad's 40th birthday. How long till I'm 80? Well, 31 years. So in a way, there's almost this, I've still got like double the amount of life to go. When I look at what my dad achieved between the years of 40 and 80, there's been about 3 different businesses, 3 different locations where he's lived, 4 different relationships at least, the ones that I know of. So wherever you feel like you're at today, you're pretty much halfway. There's so much more to come. And everything that we've talked about in this Power Code series, and there's going to be, I'm going to have to come up with a new plan for the next 6 months of podcast episodes. But wherever you feel you're at, if you're in the sweet spot of Team Super Dad audience, then you're halfway through. You're halfway through this journey. Everything that you've created up until this point, you've got the chance to go and do it all again. And whether that's something new or whether it's taking what you've done to the next level, the practices and processes of the Power Code are a core model for living, of creating a life by design that will have you be connected to yourself, to your family, and to the people that are most important to you around you. That's the person who you want to be. That's the person you want to show up as. And that's the reason why so many men are lost today, because they just don't have the answers to those points. So I hope this has been of value. Ask any questions you've got in the comments below. Send them to me on DMs if you think it's a bit personal, and get yourself over to the Team Superdad group. As always, that's teamsuperdad.com/group. And if you want to connect with me and talk about everything that you could get out of the Power Code or one-on-one coaching, then just simply go to teamsuperdad.com/15 call, and we will get on that initial conversation and call. Absolutely awesome to have you here. If it's sunny where you are in the world, then get out there and enjoy it. If it's winter, if you're down under, then then just enjoy the winter. I bloody hate winter. I bloody love summer though. So let's get out there and top up our tan and have some laughs today. Team Superdad out. I'll see you next time.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.